for it.
Good morning. How are you guys doing?
Good.
I'm glad to hear that. Today I would like to talk about the influence of the Spanish language in the United States. As you already know, Spanish has become more and more popular in the US or the United States of America, just due to the immigration of people mainly from Mexico and Central America and South America. In case you didn't know, the United States is the home of more than 40 million Hispanic people. 40 million, that's a big chunk of our total population here in the US. Also, the United States is the 5th largest Spanish-speaking community in the world. Number 1 would be Mexico, followed by Colombia, Spain, and Argentina. And then we have the United States in 5th place. There are several reasons why this country still has Spanish as let's say the second language. And if we want to do that, we would like to review the history of Spanish in America. It started early in the 16th century when the Spaniards came to Central America, and it started to expand towards the north side of the continent. And they went to Texas and California, also Arizona and New Mexico. In the 18th century, end of the 18th century, beginning of the 19th century, the Spanish sold the land to the Americans. Louisiana used to have a lot of Spanish speakers and French speakers. We still see some French there in Louisiana, mainly in New Orleans, but English is the main language right now. So another reason why the Spanish is still around is the Mexican-American War. That was from 1846 to 1848. The Mexicans or the Spanish, they lost this war, and then the United States took most of the rights, including the people and citizens that used to be there. So all the Spanish speakers that lived there became American citizens, and they continued speaking their own language, which was Spanish. Another event that changed this was the Spanish-American War. That was almost 50 years after the Mexican-American War. When this happened, Cuba and Puerto Rico became part of the United States. Later on, Cuba reached its independence from the United States, but Puerto Rico became part of the United States, and is still part of the United States, even though they speak Spanish. That's their main language. We continue seeing migration from other countries here. Like I said, mostly from Mexico. As you can see, more than 34 million people speak Spanish at home in the United States. This includes the 3.5 million in the territory of Puerto Rico, which, like I said, their main language is Spanish, and they happen to be part of the United States too. So the other states are California, Texas, Florida, New York, and they also have a very high percentage of speakers. Right now I'm going to explain a little chart here that's showing the population by percentages and by numbers. As you can see, California has the highest Hispanic population, which is over 9 million people, which is 28% of the total population. So let's say that almost 1 out of 3 people speak Spanish in California. Then you have Texas, which has over 6 million Spanish speakers and a total of 29% of the population. That's almost the same. 1 out of 3 people speak Spanish there. Very incredible. In Puerto Rico, 95% of the population speak Spanish just because it's Puerto Rico. And then you have Florida and New York, that they don't have as many Spanish speakers, but a very significant percentage of their population speak Spanish as well. So what do we see in the United States in the future? I believe that we're going to have more Spanish speakers. I think that Spanish is becoming more and more popular. It keeps growing in the United States. You also have the learning trend. As we can see, a lot of colleges, they require a second language class, and most students choose Spanish. That's like the main option, followed by French and German, Italian, and Japanese. You also have the Spanglish. Spanglish is a mixture of English words and phrases with some Spanish words too. I got some examples like squite, which sounds pretty similar to quit. So let's say that instead of saying I quit my job, I'm going to say yo quité mi trabajo. So we use all you have to do is remove these 2 words and then you have an English word. But a lot of people from the Mexican community, Hispanic community, use that word. This one, which looks pretty similar to lunch, is lonche, which is another Spanglish word that's used a lot in, like I say, in the states like Texas and California, Florida. So the future of the Spanish, like I said, I think it's going to continue his growth in the United States. It will become more and more popular. You have like the economic reasons why, like the NAFTA, which is the North American Free Trade Agreement. It's an agreement between Canada, the United States, and Mexico, which allow Mexican people to come and work here, Mexican companies to come here and start their own businesses. And also the same way for the United States. The United States can send people to Mexico whenever they want, once they are covered by this agreement. Almost you have the Spanish media like Univision, Telemundo, Time Magazine in Spanish. All these media, right now they have Spanish channels and Spanish ways to communicate to the Spanish speakers. So in conclusion, what I see is that the Hispanic population will continue its growth in the United States, and I'm sure that it will become more popular in places where they have never seen Spanish. Also, it will be a matter of time before a bilingual education becomes a requirement by the government, not a choice, but you have to do it. And it will go from elementary school and all the way to college. So if you guys have any questions, please feel free to ask them. If not, thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it and have a great day.